Hello friends, this is Vinay Bhagwat here from Siddharth Academy. For last 15 years, Siddharth Academy has been serving students. The core concept behind the growth story of Siddharth Academy is to have fun in the classroom, to have live examples in the classroom, so that it is very easy for the student to digest the given subject. Today I am presenting the so-called technical or very difficult to digest subject, that is derivatives. At all professional levels, this subject is supposed to be counted by the students, so it will be a help from our side to you all to understand it better. So let us start with the topic derivatives. As the word suggests, derivatives, that means it derives its value. So it is not a technical term, it is based on the term which is deriving its value from something else. So when we talk about the word derivatives, we have to understand that there are two things. One is something which is called as an underlying. That underlying could be an asset, it could be a stock exchange index, it could be anything based on which a derivative product will get its value. It is not something which is very technical. Let us take a very simple example from our daily life. Let us talk about some water in the glass. So have some water in the glass and put a piece of sponge into it. What will happen? The sponge will be floating on the water. Then pour down some of the water from the glass, and what will happen? The level of water will go down, as well as the level of sponge will also go down. And that is what is the simplest of the examples if you want to understand the word derivatives. The sponge has got its value from the water level. It has got no substance of itself. It is all based on something which is an underlying. That underlying is the water level over here. So there will be an asset, there will be an index or something of that sort. Whatever could be bought and sold can become an underlying. That is, anything which is purchased in the market, sold in the market, will have a market value, and all of these things will generate derivatives. So derivative products can be based on the commodities. We know various commodities which are bought and sold, like gold, turmeric, copper, and the like. These are all the commodities. On multi-commodity exchange, MCX, the derivative products which are traded are all based on the commodities. However, it is just an example. The other example is that of the index. In India, we have got BSE index, which is called as Sensex, and NSE index, which is called as Nifty. So a derivative product could also be on the basis of either BSE Sensex or NSE Nifty. So if Nifty level goes up, the value of that derivative will also go up. If Nifty level goes down, the value consequently or resultantly will fall down. That is what is the simplest way of defining a derivative. So as we have said that there will be an underlying asset, It could be an asset, it could be index, it could be interest rate, and so on. Whatever in short would be bought and sold, derivatives could be based on that. And derivative per se has got no other connection. So it will also be bought and sold. Another example could be placed before you. Think about a right share. You all professional students would know what a right share means. That is, the existing shareholders are allowed to subscribe to some more shares of the company. And you can sell your right of buying the share to somebody else. So, you can pass on, you can transfer the right to somebody else to buy the shares instead of yourself. What are you selling? You are selling a right. You are not selling the shares. You are selling the right to purchase the shares. That could also be another example as to how people buy or sell these derivative products. So that itself becomes a separate product. It gets listed separately and it ultimately will have a market price of itself. What are the derivatives which are in practice? So what are the prerequisites or what are the requirements for derivatives in practice? The first and foremost is obviously for any commercial contract there will have to be two parties. One will have to be a buyer, the other one will have to be a seller. Both these people would have their own mindsets. You know, generally the mindset of a buyer is whatever is the asset, whatever is the thing which they are going to purchase, it will increase as far as the value is concerned in the days to come. That is the reason why buyer buys a product, buys an asset, whereas seller on the other hand must have reaped the benefits, or he is trying to reap the benefits. He has attained the level and he feels that yes, this market price will no longer go further, and that is the reason why a seller sells. So the first and foremost thing is that there will have to be two parties. Interestingly, when we talk about any commercial contract, there are two legs of the transaction. One is the consideration which has to be paid by the buyer to the seller, and the other one is the delivery of the thing from the seller to the buyer. Simple example, go to a retail shop, you pay a price of 15 rupees and purchase a mineral water bottle. So the delivery has been given right away and the consideration also has been given immediately. So obviously this particular contract is complete in all respects. This contract is complete in all respects. However, let us think about one of the two things, that is either the consideration or delivery being postponed to a later date. Example given, you purchase a television set, you go to the showroom, book it, and he will tell you that after 4 days the delivery shall be given to your doorstep. People will come to install the television on the same day, but you'll have to wait for 4 more days. What has happened? You have paid the consideration today and the delivery has been postponed to a later date, that is after 4 days. Let us take another example. You know the retailer very well for last 10 years. You go to his shop, you tell him, I want to buy this thing, I'm not carrying any money right now, I will pay you tomorrow. Because he knows you for years together now, obviously he has got faith in you, in your word, so he hands over the delivery to you and the payment will follow later on. The consideration is going to be given later on. So normal transaction gets over when either delivery or consideration is paid at the time of entering into a contract. Whereas when we talk about derivatives, they being forward contracts, neither the delivery nor the consideration is paid upfront. So at the time of contract, it is just an assurance, it is just a commitment, it is just a contract signed, but neither the delivery nor the consideration flows immediately. That is one of the features of derivatives. That is one of the features of a forward contract. What is forward contract? In our discussion to come, we are definitely going to throw more light on forward contract. But derivatives being a forward contract has got this particular feature, which is a characteristic which is not applicable for the other commercial contracts. Example given: on 1st July, we enter into a contract for 3 months. That is, after 3 months, the delivery of, example given, gold is given. And the price will also be paid after 3 months. We have to ascertain the price today. The price which has been ascertained, say, is 27,000 rupees per 10 grams. But the delivery is going to be postponed to 3 months forward. And that is what we are looking at here. The contract has been signed today. Consideration is going to be paid after 3 months. And the delivery of gold will also be taken or received after 3 months. And that is what we are looking at. The same characteristics are there for a derivative transaction, whereby the values are fixed today, the obligations are fixed today, but the performance of this particular contract is going to be postponed at a later stage. We have already spoken about the common underlying assets like commodities, the individual shares, that is stocks, bonds, interest rates, currencies. So there will be lots of underlying assets which will be the basis for the derivative contracts. So derivatives will be floated, they will be pegged to the various underlying assets. Let us continue with this example of gold. That is, the gold price after 3 months would be 27,000. For somebody's marriage in family, you want to book the price at the rate 27,000 right now, because you are fearing whatever has been the slashed down gold prices right now, they may not remain that, and gold may touch 30,000. And that is the level of gold which may happen at that time. So you do not want to take a chance, and that is the reason why you are now pegging the transaction, fixing up the transaction, fixing up the responsibility that after 3 months you will deliver 27,000 rupees and you will get 10 grams of gold in turn. If you have understood this agreement, this contract, I think you have understood the basis, the crux of the topic, derivatives. Generally, people talk about derivatives being futures and options. On stock exchange, we generally talk about F&O, that is futures and options being derivative products. Futures and options are widely recognized, they are widely known to people, and that's why we generally call derivatives as futures and options. However, futures themselves are nothing but forward contracts. We have just now taken example of gold, which was talking about a forward contract. So a forward contract is, you could say, the genus, and futures would be the species. That means forward contracts is a tree and futures would be a branch of that particular tree. That is what is the association, that is what is the relationship between a forward contract and futures. So let us define a forward contract. A forward contract is between two parties. Obviously one would be a buyer, the other one would be a seller. Just now we spoke about it being agreed upon, the price being agreed upon. In our example, we have already booked the price of gold at 27,000 for 10 grams. the date which has already been prefixed, that is predefined, that is 3 months from 1st July. So the date has been fixed, the price has been fixed, but the delivery has to be given after 3 months, and the consideration is also supposed to be given after 3 months. That is how we can define a forward contract. Now, forward contract can be entered into by any party with any other party. So, when we talk about any party with any other party, obviously, provisions which will govern this transaction will be the normal Contract Act, normal Sale of Goods Act, and the like. So there is nothing which is special. However, here, suppose you have committed to somebody. Let us take an example that you want certain memory card from a retailer. You want a 64 GB memory card from a retailer. And that is the reason why you go to him, you approach him. He says, 64 GB memory card is not available with me right now. The price would be 1,500. But the delivery will be given to you tomorrow. You say, no, I want to have the delivery today, or I will pay the price tomorrow. Now, the contract is not complete. The agreement is not complete between two of you. Why? Because the delivery and consideration, the timing has not matched here. And that is the reason why he will tell you, deposit a sum of 500 rupees as a token, and tomorrow you collect the delivery by making the payment of balance 1000 rupees. Now this is a forward contract, and you are one of the parties. Suppose you say, I will directly come tomorrow. He will say, no, unless you pay advance, I cannot rely on your commitment. You may find this 64 GB memory card in some other shop and you will not turn up. So who guarantees the performance of a forward contract in this example? And that is the reason why the shop owner will convince you that I have been here in this particular vicinity for last 20-25 years. I am not going to run away taking your 500 rupees. However, you may not come back to me, and that is the reason why I need that guarantee, that assurance, and that is the reason why you deposit a sum of money with me today, and that is 500 rupees. Once you deposit those 500 rupees, it is just a token. Please remember, it is not the entire consideration which you have paid, and those 500 rupees become a part of the consideration. The consideration flows the next day. Your GB card, that is 64 GB card of memory card, will be delivered to you the next day. The execution of the forward contract. The execution of the forward contract. And that is the reason why there is a huge risk of counterparty default. I repeat, counterparty default as far as forward contracts are concerned. And that is the reason why forward contracts are going to be very risky, because you cannot dictate certain terms with the other party. You cannot specify the terms. The party may say yes today and they may not agree upon the things tomorrow, and that is the reason why there is a counterparty risk with the forward contracts. And that is the reason why, because they are not regulated. They are not regulated at all. It is between two private parties. That is the reason why they become very risky in nature. They become very difficult to be negotiated, regulated. And that because there is no guarantee. You must have heard the word margin in market. What is margin? In technical terms, whatever we call as margin is nothing but the security deposit in simple terms. Suppose there is a tenant-owner relationship in an agreement. The owner will always ask for certain security deposit. This particular transaction is already known to you. What is that in market terms? Is nothing but the margin. And why that margin is required is to guarantee the performance. Once you are stuck up with 20% or 30% of your entire value, you will deliver. the balance of 70%, 80%, and that is the reason why that margin concept is very crucial, very important. In most of the forward contracts, we see that the delivery actually takes place. Just now we talked about the other example of the memory card. Prior to that we talked about the example of gold. All of those examples will imbibe in our minds that yes, the delivery has been taken, gold has been purchased, the memory card has been purchased. So generally speaking, the delivery is made. Let us talk about the concept of futures. Now futures is nothing but a part of, a type of forward contract only. That is, the futures are traded on stock exchange. So futures are regulated by stock exchange. Futures are regulated by the regulator of that country. In our country, the regulator is SEBI. And that is the reason why futures are a special type of forward contract only. So when we talk about futures, we have to understand that these are forward contracts, but they are entered into on the stock market itself. Let us now come to the next important term, that is options. Before coming to the technical definition of the word options, let us take a very simple example of an Insurance company. Everybody knows about the contract of insurance. Contract of insurance is insurance company collects premium at the beginning of the year and it guarantees, for example, a car insurance, it guarantees that if your car meets with an accident, insurance company takes up the responsibility for making good the losses. So we all know this contract of insurance. One is the insurance company collecting premium at the beginning of the year, and the other party is you yourself, that is the insured who has insured his car. You have paid a premium to the insurance company and you have purchased, you have taken a commitment from the insurance company. Something goes wrong, the insurance company will be held responsible. It will make the good the losses. This simple contract can be extended to understand the word options. Suppose your car meets with a very small accident. Say a person on bike could not control his bike and that's why there is a scratch on your car because he was out of control. But no major damage has been done. Will you go to the insurance company just for a mere scratch on your car? The probability is no. And that is the reason why we use the word option. It is your option whether to go to insurance company or not. However, instead of a bike, suppose truck touches your car slightly, despite that your car has been damaged, and that is the reason why you will have to go to the insurance company. Here you are exercising an option. Once you are exercising this option, insurance company is under obligation to perform. That means it is an option given to you, but it is an obligation on the shoulders of the insurance company. If you have understood this example of option, you will extend it further now to the stock market. There are two parties to the options contract. One would be the writer of the option. Writer collects premium upfront in advance at the time of signing the agreement, like insurance company has done. So the premium is collected by the writer of the option, and the option has been given to the person who has purchased, who has been the buyer of the option. He is technically called as the holder of the option. So there are two parties to option. One is the writer, the other one is the holder. Writer has sold an option to the buyer, that is the holder. Once we have understood which are the two parties, let us proceed as to what exactly is being bought and sold. That also is the next part of our discussion. Options are of two types. One is call option, the other one is put option. As the name suggests, call. When we call something, that means we want it, we need it, we demand it. So when I say call, that means option to buy. And when I say put, that will be sale, means I am putting something on the table so that you can take the delivery away. So put option is describing nothing but the option to sell. Let us take an example of options. Say Reliance Industries share is being bought and sold today at 750 rupees. One share of Reliance has the market price of 750 rupees. You are purchasing a call option, that is option to buy one share of Reliance at 775 rupees on 31st July. So on 1st July you have entered into a contract with the writer of the option, who has written the option, the call option, that given a choice you will come to him on or before 31st July for buying one share of Reliance at 775 rupees. Let us zoom forward and go on the date 31st July. Suppose on that day the market price of Reliance has been 800 rupees. Would you like to buy something whose market price is 800 at a given price of 775? The answer is yes. In other words, you will go to the person who is the writer and you will tell him that these are 775 rupees in cash. Hand over one share of Reliance to me. I want to buy, I want to exercise my option, I want to exercise my call option, that is to buy one share of Reliance at 775. Collecting that one share at 775 rupees, you go to the stock market, you deliver that and collect 800 rupees. Thereby you have gained 25 rupees on 31st July. Please remember, you have entered into a call option. Call option will always give you profits when the market price goes up beyond the limit of the price which was fixed up in advance. The price which was fixed up in advance in our example has been 775 rupees, which is technically called as a strike price or exercise price. It is the price at which you will strike the deal, you will exercise your option, and that's why it is called as either the strike price or exercise price. Let us take the other way round. Suppose market price does not cross 775 rupees. Let us say the market price as on 31st July is 760 rupees only. Now the question before you is, would you like to purchase something at 775 rupees which is easily available in market at 760 rupees? If the product's quality remains same, you would always settle with lesser of the market price. And that is the reason why you would not exercise your option at 775 rupees. In simple terms, you will not buy something at 775 whose market price is only 760 rupees. So what happens to your option? Because you are not under obligation, you are not to be forced, and that is the reason why you can just opt out. You don't want to exercise your option. It was your option which you had purchased. And that is the reason why in such a scenario you will not exercise your option. What have you lost? You have lost the premium amount. You have lost the premium amount which was paid in advance. Say in this example, on 1st July you had paid certain premium amount, that is lost. However, you were given a guarantee by that person that if you go to him, the writer will be under obligation. So here we have learned two more technical terms. One is the strike price or exercise price. 31st July has been the other thing which we have learned subtly. That is 31st July is called as the expiry date. That is the date where this particular contract will get over. After understanding this example, let us see on 1st August, what is the use of this contract? you are given a maturity date of 31st July. So by 31st July, you should have gone to that particular party, the counter party. If you don't go up to 31st July to that party, the option automatically lapses. There is no procedure involved here. You have not exercised your option, fine, this particular option lapses. Another example from your daily parlance, that is, say you have purchased a movie ticket to go for a movie. The scheduled time is 3 p.m., 3 to 6 is the duration. Now once I have purchased the movie ticket, it is going to be my option to go to the theater and enjoy the movie. After 6 p.m, if I go to the cinema theater, will they entertain me? Will they allow me the entry in? The answer is no. They will state 3 to 6 was the duration. After 6 p.m, this particular ticket is not valid. The same thing happens with options. That is, after the exercise date, after the due date, after the maturity date, they lose their value. Their value is absolutely zero. For your movie ticket, maybe there will be some emotional attachment that I saw movie with so and so. However, apart from that, there is no commercial value to that movie ticket after 6 p.m. And that is what is the significance of the word options, that after the due date, the value of the options becomes zero. Now, there are two types of options, or two varieties of options you could say. One is the European option. In our example, you go to that party on 31st July is European option, means you cannot go prior to 31st July to exercise your option. So the only day which is possible for you to go to that other party is on 31st July. That is the date which is fixed for the European option. Whereas the other type of option is American option. American option in our example is up to 31st July, on any of the given days, you can visit that party and exercise your option. So American option is that option which can be exercised at any time up to the date of maturity. In our example, it has been 31st July. American option gives you greater flexibility. Suppose the price surges at 825 rupees during the month of July. In that event, American option is more fruitful for you. It is going to be more beneficial for you. Why? You can exercise that option at any time up to 31st July. But this particular flexibility has not been there in European option, and there you have to wait patiently till maturity, that is up to 31st July, to exercise your option. So that is what is the next part, that is the description of American and European option. So American option is generally valued more as compared to European option because it gives you greater flexibility. Now let us take an example of a forward contract. Once again, we take a very simple example which will be easy to understand. There is a farmer. This farmer is worried about the market price which he will get after 6 months for the crop which is yet to arrive. That is, the harvesting is yet to be done. Right now he is sowing the seeds, so obviously harvesting season would be down the line, and afterwards his grain, that is the crop, is going to be the finished product which will be there in the market to sell for after 6 months. Now he is worried about the market price which he will get at that point of time. A company approaches him and company shows the willingness to buy his product at, say, an amount of 1000. Farmer says, if nothing else is going to be there, or he doesn't know the market price at that point of time, he wants to get the guarantee. He wants to get the assurance. In technical terms, he wants to hedge his risk. To hedge risk means to avoid risk, to manage risk. So now, by selling his crop, which is yet to come, to a company after 6 months, he can sleep well. That is, he can assure himself that after 6 months, as soon as I give crop to this company is going to give me, say, an amount of 1000 rupees. They enter into agreement, and the crop, which is future goods, is already sold by the farmer to the company for a consideration of 1000 rupees. Now, he has fixed up the price, and the price is rupees 1000. Once again, let us go to the 6 months down the line scenario. After 6 months, if the market price of that crop is actually 1000 rupees, neither the farmer has gained nor the company has gained. Both of them are at par. Farmer could have sold this particular crop after 6 months at 1000 rupees in market. On the same lines, company could have bought this particular crop at 1000 rupees from market. So both of them are at par, no profit, no loss, because of the forward contract entered into by the farmer with the company. However, suppose due to huge crop production, due to huge supply, there is abundance in market as far as this crop is concerned, and that is the reason why market price fell down drastically, say to a level of 750. At 750 market price, the farmer has gained. Why? Because whatever he could have sold at 750 in the market, because of the forward contract entered into with the company, he can go to the company, offer the crop, get 1000 rupees, which is more by 250 rupees as compared to the other farmers, those who have not taken the forward contract. That is the biggest advantage to the farmer. There is no darkness, there is no suspense as to how much is going to be the market price at that point of time. And that is the reason why not only he has gained 1000 rupees, he has got 250 rupees more as compared to the other farmers. However, if the market price is 1200, then in that event, the farmer has lost notionally those 200 rupees. Why? Whatever is having the market price of 1200, company could buy the same product at 1000 rupees. Thereby, there is a notional gain for the company of 200 rupees and notional loss. Can I say it is loss to the farmer? The answer is no. It is loss in his profit by an amount of 200 rupees. So, this example gives us two parties. One is the farmer, the other one is the company. What has farmer done in this example? Farmer has sold. The technical term for selling is to go short. So the person who goes short sells at a future date. The position which the company has taken, that is, the company has bought. To buy, that is, the company has gone long. So to short means to sell, to go long means to purchase at a future date. So these are the two technical terms which the market uses. What has farmer done today? Farmer has sold his crop at a future date. This action of selling the crop at a future date, this particular action by the farmer, he has shorted. What is the technical term? To short something means to sell something. So he is a short. That means farmer has sold at future, that is after 6 months. And the company in this example has taken a long position. To long means to buy. Example given as far as the market is concerned. Somebody goes short on Nifties at 6,000 level. That means he assumes that Nifty is going to fall down to a level less than 6,000. That means in our example, let us say 5,700. So he has already sold Nifty at 6,000 level. Once Nifty falls down to 5,700 level, he will buy Nifties. So he will square off his transaction. Thereby a sell transaction is squared off by a buy transaction. A buy transaction is squared off by a sell transaction. And mutually the profits are exchanged, either profits or losses. In our example, the person who has sold a Nifty at 6,000, who has shorted Nifties at 6,000, has gained 300 rupees because he has been a seller, he has been a pessimist, and that is the reason why he has sold. He has bought later on at a lesser price, thereby gaining. Suppose his estimation goes wrong, he will have to suffer a loss. Say from 6,000 level shorted, suppose the Sensex or Nifty increases to 6,200, he has to square off his transaction, he has to settle his transaction, he will sustain a loss of 200 rupees. That is what is shorting and longing the Nifties in the stock market.